It looks like the last stand for PlayStation and Xbox is on the way. Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably going to be the last major release that PlayStation and Xbox ever receive, right? This is going to be the last game that really drives console sales. This is going to be the last game that gets really people fired up about buying this console, this brand, this identity. This is going to be the thing that gets a lot of people to buy PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X's. But it is going to be the last, right? I do think this is going to be the title that really diminishes Rockstar's star, so to speak. This is going to be the title that kind of establishes that they aren't what they used to be, that they can't put out games that appeal to their audience anymore, and that they just simply can't compete with what other open world games are doing. Right? This is going to be the game where it becomes apparent that the Rockstar formula of simply running around an open field and just shooting everyone in sight and like fighting a bunch of cops is not going to be all that appealing in a world that's experienced Saints Row the Third and Yakuza and Zelda, Skyrim, more technically involved games than simply running around and killing people, right? Grand Theft Auto is going to struggle, I think, with the legacy I and with the original, right? They are going to struggle a lot with living up to the legend of the earlier games. Like they're not going to be as well received as San Andreas, as 3, as Vice City Stories, as 5 even. Like I think when people buy Grand Theft Auto 6, when they play the game, when they go through the missions, when they like see all the stuff that's been stripped away, when they see how politically correct it is, when they see how the game like just isn't all that put together, that it's glitchy, that it's broken, that it's missing features that were from 4, 5, and San Andreas, when they experience this game, when they see its asinine plot, when they get to experience this thing, like there's gonna be this overwhelming consensus among a lot of people, especially people who played older Grand Theft Auto games. Wow, I am not having fun with this. Like the game is gonna sell. Like I don't think anybody would deny that, but I do think there is like a very clear shift in regards to the way Grand Theft Auto is going to be viewed by the public because this kind of material of just going around and killing people endlessly, it's simply not new or novel anymore. It isn't edgy. And if Rockstar like tones that down, they're gonna lose a lot of the appeal they had. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is an interesting example because that game technically sold like what was it, like 45 million units or something. Like it's one of the most popular games on PS4 and Xbox Series X, right? Xbox One, right? It was very financially successful, right? But is the game good? No. Like I played the game. It's linear. It's boring. It's woke. It's like anachronistic. It doesn't make any sense. Like the writing is terrible. Like the concept is terrible. Like it's put together so poorly, right? Like Red Dead Redemption 2 is simply just not that engaging of a game, even if the audience doesn't want to admit it. And I think with Grand Theft Auto 6, there is going to be this increasing feeling among the community, similar to how like hardcore gamers feel about COD and stuff like that, where it's just the same thing again, but worse, right? Like this isn't new, fresh, or exciting anymore. It's the same thing we've always had. And as a result of that, why exactly would I get excited for it? Like in a lot of ways, I think even now, where I'm at, like I have never played through Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5. I've never finished either of those games. Whenever I want to play a Grand Theft Auto game, I'll go back to San Andreas. I'll go back to Grove Street. I'm hanging out with CJ and the boys. Ryder, Big Smoke, like those guys, right? Because those games were better, right? They had a lot more of an edge to them. They were innovative for the time. They were put together better than what we got afterward with 4 and 5. They did have more things going for them. There were things about San Andreas that appealed to certain people. Now, I don't like the game. I don't think it's that great. I think Grand Theft Auto is one of the most overrated gaming IPs of all time. But like when you think about it, right? Like it hasn't uh no Grand Theft Auto game has really been able to top San Andreas because San Andreas does do a lot of things that no other game in the franchise does. Like San Andreas is objectively the best, right? And even if like modern players don't want to admit it, right? And I think Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be another step downward. And I think it might be enough of a downgrade where even casual audiences start to notice that Grand Theft Auto isn't innovating, that the game doesn't look much better, that it's not that big of a deal, that like the game is underwhelming compared to what they played 10 years ago. 10 years of technological advancements, huge improvements, major changes, and they can't do anything new or interesting, right? I think that's going to be a pretty big deal, right? And I think with that, like, kind of, that broken pedestal, we're going to see that start to impact, like, the way the PlayStation brand is headed because without Grand Theft Auto, without like one of the big founding pillars of the PlayStation brand, like the console is gonna suffer for it, right? Like, are they really gonna go another console generation, the PlayStation 6 generation, without a GTA game? Are they really gonna go another decade without putting out another Grand Theft Auto? Are they really gonna go through this again? I I don't think they are. Like, I think the game is going to come out. It's going to be underwhelming. It's going to be really microtransaction heavy. It's going to scare a lot of people off. People are put off by that stuff in this day and age. I do think there is going to be some negative backlash to Grand Theft Auto 6, even if people buy and support the game out of blind brand loyalty, right? It's probably going to win Game of the year it comes out, but that doesn't mean anything. That isn't going to leave much of an impact, right? That isn't something I care about. You know, like when all is said and done, what really matters for Grand Theft Auto, what matters for Take Two, what matters for Rockstar is that they put out a good product. And I simply don't believe that's actually possible, right? I have no interest, even now, in playing Grand Theft Auto 5. I have no interest at all in Grand Theft Auto 6, other than the fact that, like, it's going to do well and kind of, like, keep PlayStation and Xbox propped up for just a little bit while longer. It's one of the unholy trinity, right? Uh, this is one of the only brands that is keeping those platforms alive in this day and age. And if Grand Theft Auto fails for any reason, if they fail to kind of prop up the PlayStation and Xbox brands, like, it's over for those console brands. So I am very anxious to see the end of Grand Theft Auto and to see them fail. But unfortunately, unlike a lot of other brands that I hate, Final Fantasy, Konami, Capcom, like, it doesn't seem as if they're anywhere near where they need to be for that to happen. Maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe, like, only making Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption is really catching up to them. But, like, I feel as if Grand Theft Auto is as a brand is just super overhyped. That it doesn't really deliver anything important or interesting, and that it really only sells based on its basic premise of just being a criminal in America, which is honestly kind of disgusting. Like, Grand Theft Auto is just a shameful franchise. It's embarrassing. I hope more people start making fun of it. The games aren't fun. There's nothing good about them. There's nothing, like, interesting about them. Like, I long for the day that they no longer are a big, like, cornerstone of gaming culture. But who knows when or even if that'll happen, right? Like, right now, it seems like they're kind of this unstoppable pinnacle of, like, open world game design. They're still seen as, like, the gold standard, and I think that's gonna be. I think that hasn't been true for a long time. Like, I think they've been beaten on that front, like, time and time again by all sorts of different developers, right? But I think, like, the mainstream audiences don't really admit it. Like, Grand Theft Auto is the best because it's Grand Theft Auto. It doesn't really need to have a good game attached to it. It just needs to have that license, right? It just needs to be Grand Theft Auto. And I feel as if I feel as if it's going to be a long, hard road to get to the point where Grand Theft Auto is a shell of its former self. I hope audiences wake up and start acknowledging that these games are not that important or good.